Ever feel like there's not much you can do about political corruption? Most people do. But on rare occasions, people get angry and do something about it. In 1946, a group of American World War II veterans returned home after years of fighting. Instead of being welcomed, they were arrested, jailed, and fined by the local officials. When the former soldiers couldn't take it anymore, they used their military experience to overthrow the government. Violence was the answer. But was it also the solution? The political machine. Edward Hall Crump was born in Holly Springs, Mississippi in 1874. He moved to Memphis at the age of 19, and shortly thereafter began a career in politics as a member of the Democratic Party. By the 1930s, he oversaw a political machine that controlled most of Tennessee. This control extended to McMinn County, where Crump selected candidates. In 1936, Paul Cantrell was put forth as sheriff. He was elected to that post every 2 years until 1942, when he served in the state senate. While serving as a senator, Cantrell's former deputy, Pat Mansfield, served as sheriff. Paul Cantrell and the Crump political machine made sure to maintain strict control over voters and profit from them as well. The process became much easier during World War II, when about 10% of McMinn County's population was fighting overseas. The people that remained behind were too timid to offer resistance. It was an open secret that Cantrell was using election fraud to remain in power. In the 1940s, the number of voting precincts was cut almost in half. Furthermore, during elections, the ballot boxes were taken to the police precinct and counted in secret. Their control of local institutions was so complete that it extended to local schools and the local newspaper. According to one veteran that was interviewed years later, it wasn't possible to even get hired as a school teacher without Cantrell's approval. Additional revenue was generated for Paul Cantrell and his associates due to implementation of a fee system. They were paid for every arrest, incarceration, and release. To help ensure revenue kept coming in, they often pulled over buses and arrested tourists. Between 1936 and 1946, they made almost $300,000 this way, which is equivalent to about $4.2 million today. During the war, 2 servicemen who were home on leave were shot and killed by Cantrell supporters. The soldiers from McMinn County heard about this and were not happy. They also couldn't do anything about it until the war ended. Veterans return home. In the summer of 1945, soldiers began returning home. By 1946, the streets of Athens were filled with them. Paul Cantrell was serving in the U.S. Senate, which left Pat Mansfield in charge of McMinn County and the city of Athens. His deputies wasted no time in exploiting this new source of income. The returning veterans were arriving in Athens with their remaining military pay. They liked to drink a lot and were spending their money locally. The deputies made sure all that money would stay in Athens. Deputies would patrol the local bars and arrest drunk veterans. Then they would beat them and take their money. One veteran, Bill White, described the experience. There were several beer joints and honky-tonks around Athens. We were pretty wild. We started having trouble with the law enforcement at that time because they started making a habit of picking up GIs and fining them heavily for most anything. They were kind of making a racket out of it. After long, hard years of service, most of us were hardcore veterans of World War II. We were used to drinking our liquor and our beer without being molested. When these things happened, the GIs got madder. The more GIs they arrested, the more they beat up, the madder we got. The veterans decided to fix the problem by electing their own candidates to local offices. Paul Cantrell, realizing that Pat Mansfield might lose, returned to Athens and decided to run for sheriff again. Paul Cantrell did not intend to let them win. Election Day. Leading up to the election, the veterans drove cars with loudspeakers, repeating the slogan, "Your vote will be counted as cast." The local newspaper, the Daily Post-Athenian, was mostly silent. But on July 31st, 1946, a notice appeared on page 1 saying that 450 veterans in nearby Blount County were ready to help as needed. 2 days before the election, the veterans ran the following advertisement in the local newspaper. These young men fought and won a war for good government. They know what it takes and what it means to have a clean government, and they are energetic enough, honest enough, and intelligent enough to give us good, clean government. The veterans from Blount County then offered to send poll watchers to help ensure a fair election. Cantrell and his local army of deputies did not intend to let it happen. Polls opened the morning of August 1st, 1946. Normally, there would be 15 police officers patrolling each precinct. On this occasion, there were more than 200. Many were brought from other counties and other states. In nearby Etowah, a veteran poll watcher asked for a ballot box to be opened so he could certify it was empty. That was his legal right as a poll watcher, but he was arrested and taken to jail for it. In Athens, another veteran poll watcher, Walter Ailes, protested voting irregularities. He was also arrested and charged. Around 3 p.m., Tom Gillespie, an African-American farmer, attempted to vote. A local deputy wouldn't allow him access. The veteran poll watcher objected, as did Gillespie. The deputy, C.M. Wise, struck Gillespie with brass knuckles. Gillespie dropped the ballot and tried to run, which is when Wise shot him in the back. Paul Cantrell was more than willing to use violence to make sure he won this election. The men helping him had no problems performing these violent acts. Perhaps picking a fight with men who helped conquer North Africa wasn't the best decision. Veterans respond. The former soldiers gathered in front of a nearby store that was used as an office by Jim Buttram. Buttram was the campaign manager for the veteran candidates. Jim Buttram had tried everything he could to ensure a fair election. He telegraphed the Tennessee governor in Nashville and didn't get a response. He tried the U.S. Attorney General and was also ignored. When they learned that armed guards were sent to all the polling places, the veterans decided to arm themselves. Meanwhile, after the shooting of Gillespie, Mansfield ordered that the polling location should be closed. This caused chaos among the crowd outside. Also, the deputies took 2 poll watchers, Charles Scott and Ed Vestal, captive. The 2 were able to escape. The deputies removed the ballot boxes and took them to the jail, where they would be counted in secret. Someone in the crowd yelled, "Let's go get our guns!" The crowd began moving to a nearby garage where the weapons were kept. In the meantime, 2 deputies were sent to arrest Scott and Vestal. They were taken captive. 2 more were sent after that, and they were taken captive as well. Bill White, who was quoted earlier, was the veteran in charge. An advisor and Republican Party commissioner, Otto Kennedy, asked Bill White what he was going to do. White replied, "I don't know, Otto. We might just kill him." Otto Kennedy wanted no part of it and left. After that, the crowd and most of the GIs left. Bill White and his small group of veterans took their prisoners to nearby woods. The deputies were stripped, tied to a tree, and beaten. At another polling place, 2 veteran poll watchers were trying to stop a fraudulent vote from being cast. The deputies closed the polling station and took the ballot box to the nearby jail. They also brutally beat one of the veterans. Bill White did not plan on allowing the fraudulent election to continue. He ordered his lieutenant to break into the National Guard armory. They armed themselves with rifles and machine guns and all the ammunition they needed. As the polls closed, the veterans knew that they had a 3-1 lead. They also knew that lead would disappear if Cantrell could count the votes. Cantrell and Mansfield thought the election was won. They had the ballots and thought the jail was secure. Bill White saw it another way. Not all his opponents were in one place, and unlike White, they didn't understand military tactics. Paul Cantrell and his deputies only succeeded in making themselves an inviting target as far as White was concerned. White also knew that he and the other veterans had broken the law. Cantrell would likely receive reinforcements the next day. They had to act quickly. The battle. Nobody is entirely sure how many veterans surrounded the jail. Some estimates go as high as 2,000. They were at least several hundred in number. Bill White had 60 veterans under his direct command. Other units were commanded by other veterans. They surrounded the jail and other key points in the town. A group of veterans approached the jail, which was being defended by 55 deputies. Bill White said to the men in the jail, "Would you damn bastards bring those damn ballot boxes out here, or we're going to set siege against the jail and blow it down." They did not give the ballot boxes to him. Bill White claimed that he opened fire first, shooting one of the deputies. After he started shooting, the rest of the veterans did as well. By some accounts, the shooting went on for hours. Eventually, the veterans decided they needed another approach to get inside the jail, so they brought dynamite to blow up part of the building. While they were preparing to do this, an ambulance arrived and drove to the jail. White thought it was for men injured in the shooting, so they let it through. Paul Cantrell and Pat Mansfield jumped into the ambulances and escaped, but they didn't take the ballot boxes with them. At first, White and his men would tie sticks of dynamite together and throw them, but it wasn't reaching the jail and was mostly destroying vehicles. Finally, they succeeded in getting several sticks of dynamite on the front porch and breached the door. The surviving deputies finally surrendered. Many of them were severely injured, but the veterans had the ballot boxes. Final outcome. The veterans asked for an outside agency to certify the election, which they did. The veteran candidates all won by a large margin. Control was returned to the local government, and the former soldiers stood down. One problem faced by the local government after the turbulent election process concerned the large population of veterans. They were violent and had a habit of getting in fights and discharging firearms in inappropriate places. The way local officials dealt with this was to make Bill White a deputy. The success of the veterans in Athens caused other parts of Tennessee to also seek change. A coalition of veteran groups was created to help establish a new political order. Unfortunately, old political alliances returned years later. Many of the soldiers that had returned home were extremely violent and not particularly helpful in domestic matters. Without a coherent coalition behind them, the veterans holding political office could not force lasting change. Only one person went to jail for the violence on Election Day. Wise, who shot Tom Gillespie in the back after beating him with brass knuckles, received a sentence of 1 to 3 years. The Battle of Athens is a violent and strange chapter of American history. The politicians in control of Tennessee were so sure of their power over the citizens that they seemed incapable of perceiving anything as a threat. Sending deputies to kill or beat men who just fought in a world war was not the smartest decision ever made. The veterans gave these corrupt officials a lesson in violence. And in doing so, they destroyed property and killed people. Eventually, the political corruption came back anyway. So, was it worth it? Was it the right thing to do? Is it morally gray? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you learned something interesting from this episode, maybe you'll want to watch some more. We make plenty. Thank you for watching Bad Things in History.